Tonight on the Chillstream, Bitcoin turns 15 years old. Honduras enters the chat. And that which you cannot kill only gets stronger. All of that, so much more, coming back in 2 minutes. And we are back. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to the show. It is Monday, January 8th, 2024, an entirely new year, all sorts of exciting things going on. Some good, some whatever, the usual sort of life hiccups, but, you know, these things happen. Welcome to the show. Make sure, since you just got here, before you settle down, smash up that like button. You know what I mean? Before you get too comfy, just give that like button a smash and help the show out. Help us irritate the people that actually the federal agents who actually watch this show, which is pretty hilarious. Said it in the intro, Bitcoin has turned 15 years old. January 3rd, 2009 was the first time Bitcoin was up and running. So pretty exciting. We are about 2 days away from the ETF thing going off. Really looks like it's going to happen on Wednesday. And part of that is, well, there's a bunch of stuff going on. And there's so much stuff going on. You got to remember that there are forces in this country that are marching us towards economic doomsday, like economic doomsday. I'm not kidding you. This was something I saw this the other night driving back from Dulles on Saturday. But the U.S. Mint will release new commemorative coins featuring Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman, was probably a real person, but they have fictionalized this person's life to the nth degree. They're going to release like gold coins and silver coins, like commemorative coins that you can buy. I don't know what they're going to cost. And then there's going to be some other like $1 coins. So 2024 is the year that they put Dindus on the money. And I've said it before, when because there was another article how Harriet Tubman's going to be on the currency, but she's not going to be on that $20 bill yet. The part that they left out, the quiet part that they didn't say, was Harriet Tubman is not going to be on the $20 bill yet, but she's coming. There will be a day where Harriet Tubman will be on the $20 bill. Give me a tubby. You know what I mean? How much you owe me? Tubby dollars. You owe me tubby dollars. Give me. Do you got change of a tubby? You know, that's what that's where we're going, and that's not going to be a good place because most black females have like a negative net worth. They're like literally like negative $150 in their bank account. They're overdrawn. That's going to be bad for America, and that's that. My shoulder. I realized that I had some. I guess I didn't really tear my. I guess I didn't tear my rotator cuff, but that's what I googled, like torn rotator cuff. I don't really go. I don't go at this stuff that hard. But what I ended up doing is all the muscles around my shoulders are underworked and I guess atrophied from being hunched over steering wheel the whole time, shoulders forward, and it screws up my back, and so that what actually happens is the tendon between my shoulder and my arm gets stuck in between the joint there, and it causes me all sorts of fun sensations, which waking up in the middle of the night as if your arm has been dipped in flaming gasoline, one of those sensations. But I found some exercises on YouTube which are going to help it out. And I also bought a shoulder brace for when I sleep so that I can actually sleep. Anyway, Harriet Tubman on the money is literally this is the end of the United States. There is no you cannot put you cannot put black people on the money in the United States and still be the United States. It's not good, and it's not going to be good. And this is an incremental little step. They're going to start with this, get you accustomed to this, and then sooner or later, guess what? YouTube, Luciano Villas Boas. Welcome to the show, Luciano. I haven't seen you in a while. YouTube just works. YouTube is an incredible resource if you use it correctly. Tons and tons and tons of stuff on YouTube, even stuff you wouldn't expect. I just saw a thing. There's this guy, he's a comedian. I saw him like 25 years ago. I don't know how long I saw him. And not live. I was watching a television show. And so there was like a sketch. It was a sketch comedy show, and the guys, the sketch is a prisoner visit, right? So there's a guy in prison, and then his wife and kids are coming to visit him. And the wife is like this. He's a black dude, he's a little skinny black dude with weird hair, and this woman comes in, like gorgeous black girl, like apex level black chick, and with like a 16-year-old boy and a white baby. And the baby has glasses on, these super thick Coke bottle glasses. And she's like, "Oh, I brought our new baby." And he's like, "That's not my baby." He says, "I'm in prison. I can't have a baby." She's like, "No, it's our baby." And a guy says, that's not my baby. He says, "That kid right there, that could be my kid, but that's not my baby." Back and forth, she keeps insisting. And she says, "No, he's just light skinned." And the dude he's on the prison phone. He's like, "Light skinned?" He said, "That baby is rice skinned. That baby was born with a credit score of 800, blah, blah, blah." And so it was a funny sketch. And I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. He had a crazy look. I said, "That guy's freaking hilarious." But I never learned his name. And then like 3 or 4 months ago, sports ball guy was talking to me about whatever, like Dave Chappelle. And so I was YouTubing Dave Chappelle stuff and the, recent Dave Chappelle things when he did his Saturday Night Live appearance and stuff that caused a bit of a kerfuffle. But of course, YouTube feeds you other things similar to what you were just looking at. And so since I was looking at Dave Chappelle, black comedian, guess what? YouTube started feeding me all these other black comedians. Turns out I saw the guy from the prison sketch 25 years ago. The guy's name is Cat Williams, K-A-T, Cat Williams. And he has recently blown up the internet. He did a podcast or an interview with some dude who used to be like a color commentary guy for the NFL, some big, like, the sports ball guy. and they go sit down like in this a nice or something, and they're having a couple of drinks and they're talking. And the reason why you might have never heard of Cat Williams is because he never sold out. And he talks about all the people that sold out in Hollywood and what they had to do. And he straight up said, he says, what he said, something like, I had to turn down $50 million 4 times. He says, because I wasn't going to suck anybody's penis, and I wanted my asshole to stay virgin. And the football dude's like, no, and then they're going back and forth, and it's a bit gossipy about the rappers and comedians or whatever. But this interview blew up like it got like 12 million views in 2 days. So I don't know what it's up to now, but everyone's going crazy over this guy Cat Williams, basically, saying the stuff you're not supposed to say. But he's been a pretty successful guy, not as successful, obviously, as the big shots in Hollywood, but he's kind of a fearless lunatic dude and a brilliant comedian. Brilliant. This guy's fucking hilarious. But he said the quiet part out loud. He did he did more than Dave Chappelle ever did. You know what I mean? Dave Chappelle, as much as you think Dave Chappelle was went like head on against the elites, you check out this guy, Cat Williams, K-A-T Williams. The guy's screamingly funny. But at any rate, yes, this guy particularly is very, very funny. But what the fuck does it have to do with listen, they can be great comedians. They're good at throwing balls and catching a ball. They're good at some other things, but don't put them on the money. Africans never had money. Africa never developed any economy, at all. You know what I mean? They really were living in mud huts and just chucking spears at each other. They hadn't gotten to the level where they trade something of value for something else of value. And everyone else had sort of gotten there. Whatever you think of the economic system this way or that way, everybody else had the idea of, I want that thing, I'll trade you for it, instead of, I want that thing, I'm going to smash you in the head and take it. And that is the key to, well, it's really the key to everything. There's no civilization without trade. There has to be trade, or there is nothing civilized. There may be an economy, based on savagery, something that looks like fucking Mad Max, but that's, you don't want to live that way. No, nobody can live that way. But the people they present to you, like in the way Cat Williams said, all the people like Kevin Hart and all these other dudes are not what they appear. My favorite punching bag, Elon Musk, made the news again, and apparently all the people at Tesla and SpaceX are a little bit worried about the world's wealthiest junkie, who they describe as doing cocaine, ketamine, LSD, all kinds of shit. You know what I mean? The way to engineer a way to fucking get to Mars, drop a hit of acid. Apparently, that's the way to go. This guy's drug use is out of control, and the reason why his drug use is out of control is because he was always a weak nothing, and he's thrown himself at the feet of the banking, the central bankers, and they made him. He's the richest man on the planet, to be sure, but he's a worthless fucking junkie. He's not an engineer. He's not smart anyway, and you're gonna, people are gonna see that, and that is that's kind of, I guess it's the only way you can be when you are a puppet, man. You are empty, like, you know what I mean. So you're just going to fill that emptiness with whatever chemicals are going to make the day go by faster. Speaking of which, where was the thing? I was the other thing. Oh fuck. It doesn't make a difference. But I thought I uploaded it. But James, I thought you uploaded the fucking. Study in Canada said that marijuana induced psychosis. Luciano Villas Boas in the chat Blacks can be very funny. I'll give that to them. Luke Ford is using meth nowadays just to troll his audience. No, I guess he's using meth to cope with the fact that his asshole is probably not virgin. Remember, this is a guy who not only crawled on his belly to convert to Judaism, but he actually allowed himself to be circumcised again, like ritually cut his penis in his fucking synagogue just to be one of them. This is a deeply fucked up human being, and he became, when he came to America to write about stuff, the first thing he wrote about was the pornography industry. You know what I mean? Not if that was his choice. So this guy's always been fucked up, and those chemicals are a cope. Those are the chemicals he's using to cope with some whatever the fuck he had to put up. Whatever he had to put up with, and I'm guessing it's a lot. I'm guessing, he got a little bit daring. He had a little bit of an audience. Back in the day, he had 7,000 or 8,000 people subscribing to him on YouTube, and he started touching on some interesting subjects, and it all went to shit. He backed off that so fast. It's not funny. So they probably continued punishing him for daring to say the things they don't want said. And they love shit like this. I saw this and I thought, well, isn't this fucking perfect? We're going to see a story like this every fucking year, right? January 6th just passed. So guess what? And look, you got to look at this photo. This photo, these look like bad guys from a video game or something like that. They deliberately picked those photos to make them look like the bad guy characters in a video. FBI captures 3 January 6 fugitives at Florida ranch on the 3rd anniversary of the Capitol attack. So, what will it next year on the 4th anniversary, or how many guys, they're going to catch the children of the people or whatever. Like they're never going to forgive this. They're going to squeeze every ounce of propaganda that they can out of this forever. And for normies, they're not going to understand. They're really going to see like, oh, there's terrorists everywhere. There's terrorists in the Capitol. There's terrorists here, terrorists there. I guess we better burn the Constitution because that's the only way to save America. And when they come up with that idea, they're like, we're going to burn the Constitution. We're going to put Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill, get rid of that Andrew Jackson fella, and we're going to create paradise. And people will go for it because they're not that smart. Well, a lot of people, sadly, will go for it because they aren't that smart. But around the world, things are going our way. I mentioned this once before, but at this point, it's important to know that Bitcoin doesn't ask for permission, right? Permissionless means we're not asking for permission. So there's some town or some zone in Honduras that just said, you know what, fuck it. On the local level, we're going to use Bitcoin as a currency. That's it in Honduras. It's not the whole nation of Honduras. It's just some little resort town or something like that. We don't ask permission. We don't ask permission, and we dare you to try and fucking steal from us. This is why this is another of the many reasons why we're going to fucking win. This outfit, what the hell are they called? Zengo Wallet. Zengo Wallet is offering an on-chain bounty daring hackers to take 10 Bitcoins. They put 10 Bitcoins in one of their wallets, and they're daring any hacker anywhere at any time to come and steal their Bitcoin. And there's 3 steps to doing this. There's 3 steps to the security of the wallet, and they're going to give you the first 2 steps. Okay. Luciano Villas-Boas. Can the European Union ban Bitcoin? I would find that to be extremely unlikely. I do not think anyone can ban Bitcoin. China tried to ban Bitcoin and it didn't work. And my guess is that the Chinese have a lot more control over their internet than the Europeans have over theirs. Certain people have noticed, there's everybody loves that saying from Nietzsche that that which doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Well, that which you don't kill gets stronger. Everybody knows this guy. This is Jim Cramer. He's been in movies. He's notorious for being a reverse indicator. Whatever stock he tells you to buy, you should sell because it's going to tank. But he's recently, of course, started covering crypto and Bitcoin. And he points out that you can't kill it. And I assure you, they have really tried to kill it. They don't want, in the same way that no one will walk through a federal building, against the will of the authorities. They're going to hunt you down. The FBI is going to hunt you down wherever you are because you took a walk through a government building. You will not start any monetary system that they do not approve of. But like I said, we don't ask. We do not ask for permission. Luciano Villas Boas, some of my friends are scared. Yeah, here's the thing, man. They really look at their fearful people don't make good decisions. You don't want to be fearful. You have to understand that we really are winning. Like, this is something, and I just realized this as soon as I saw it. Again, I was talking about Sportsball Guy. Sportsball Guy's DMing me on Facebook Messenger. And he sends me a screenshot of his TV. SEC moves one step closer to the ETF, Bitcoin ETF. And I sent him back this because I had just seen this. And this is something that is so brilliant that nobody thought of it until recently. So the news article, it says, two former Citibank executives are launching Bitcoin American Depository Receipts, which are securities backed by Bitcoin that do not need SEC approval. So an ADR, right? What's an ADR, an American Depository Receipt, is something that they invented or developed decades ago. Like if you wanted to buy Toyota stock, well, you don't have an account in Japan. You're not trading on the Nikkei. How the fuck can you buy Toyota stock or Mercedes-Benz stock or whatever? Right? You want to buy stock in a foreign company outside the United States. How do you do it? Well, they came up with this thing called an American Depository Receipt. You buy that, and I guess there's a premium or something. And however much of that you buy, you get however many shares of Mercedes stock you want, right? That way you don't have to go to Germany and go through all the headaches of trading on the DAX or on the FTSE in England or whatever. If you want to buy whatever stock in fucking tea and crumpets, whatever. Well, I don't even know what the fuck they have of it. But the ADR, the American Depository Receipt, is a financial vehicle for giving Americans access to foreign stocks. And these two guys at Citibank just realized, hey, wait a minute, we could do that with Bitcoin. We don't need permission. We could just do this. And that's why this is all coming, because for whatever reason, and I subtitle the show that Bitcoin needs soldiers, and we're going to get them. And what I mean by that is you need people who are going to fight back and are not going to wait for permission, whether it's a little town in Honduras or these two city executives. And I don't care, I've said it before, I don't care if you're like a Christian who thinks that God created Bitcoin to defeat the communists. I don't care if you just want to snort cocaine out of a supermodel's ass crack. I don't care what you want. Like, as long as you do this, as long as you change fiat dollars into Bitcoin, I'm on your side. Because the sinews, the muscles, the sinews of global homo is the US dollar, right? It's the US dollar that runs the entire fucking world, okay? And if the US dollar ain't there, you don't want to be there, okay? And we used it everywhere. We used it in Afghanistan. We would airdrop fucking millions of dollars of people. Suitcases full of fucking money fall out of the sky in Afghanistan or anywhere we want. And that's what gets people to do things. So these two Citibank executives, I don't think they just want to make themselves even richer. Like, I don't care. And here's the difference between the ADR and the ETF. If you buy the ADR, you actually own the Bitcoin. That's the difference. In the same way that if you buy the ADR of Toyota stock, you actually legally own the shares of that Toyota stock. Well, if you buy this ADR, you will legally own the Bitcoin it's connected to. That is, I don't know how they're going to arrange, whatever the details of that are going to be, but that's coming, and they don't need government permission. This is coming one way or another, just like Harriet Tubman is going to get on a $20 bill, one way or another, right? But the race is on. You need to understand that you need to switch your unit of account and switch how you think about the world, because as much as the entire globe is based on the Federal Reserve note, it's not going to last forever. It isn't going to last forever. And when it does collapse, it's going to collapse super fast, like super, super, super fast. What was I going to say? What do I want to? Okay, but you're still early. Here's how early we are. I got that guy Breedlove, right? Yeah, that's Breedlove. Most of the people in Bitcoin, they're really naive people. They're soft. They don't understand the real world, and they are getting too far ahead of themselves because the real fight hasn't even begun. Here's 55 seconds, some of which is accurate, some of which is Breedlove getting ahead of himself.
So if you think of the state as a business, as a tax farm, effectively, to just collect the fruits of your labor and then to wage war and collect the fruits of other people's labor. And so the thesis of that book is that by virtue of the invention of anonymous digital cyber cash, which today we call Bitcoin, we would see the dissolution of the nation state as the dominant institutional paradigm of the human race. And I think that explains a lot of the pain we're seeing. We're seeing centralized authorities and powers today shaken at their foundation by the emergence of the internet, by the emergence of Bitcoin. I think that's why you see all this doubling down on the psyops and the wokeism and the nonsense. There's that saying that it's darkest before the dawn, and for better or worse, we have to live through that period. We are moving today from the industrial age into the digital age, and we see the changes that have already happened. They've been very rapid, but I think Bitcoin is an accelerant to that entire shift.
That entire thing. Okay, so that's Breedlove. What did he get right? Most governments or nation states, as we understand them, really are they are tax slaves. They are farming tax slaves, right? They take people who all sort of look like each other, all sort of speak the same language, whatever, put a fucking fence around them, and then take the things of value that they create. That's the nation state. And trading without their permission is what's going to destroy the nation state. So he's right about that. But when he says they're shaken to their boots, they're not shaken. Listen to me. Anybody that tells you the elites are scared, they're not fucking scared. Okay, everything you see, the rainbow agenda, love is love, the normalization of pedophilia, all of this fucking shit. That's a flex. That's a dominance display. They're not desperately trying to push this out there. They're putting it out there because they can. Here's what we're going to do next. Oh, by the way, we're going to make it legal to rape your children. And if you complain about it, we will throw you in a mental asylum, or we'll call you a terrorist or whatever. That is a flex. It's a dominance display. They're not terrified. They are 100% in fucking control. They really, really are in control. And so the only way to dethrone these people, the only way to defeat global homo is to literally take away its power. And its power is money. It's not really money. It's counterfeit. They hit the button and $6 trillion is created, and 2 million lives worth of economic fucking output is stolen. You know what I mean? When you think about the Russians, the Soviets, the communists, well, they had their gulags and they forced the people into gulag and they make them chop wood and they make them do whatever, mine gold, or whatever the fuck the Soviets made their fucking slave workers, their gulag workers do. That was the fucking like low tech, crude, violent way to do shit. In America, the cousins of the people and the descendants of the people who ran the gulags have a much more efficient system. They have the money print, and they just tap that button, and they can steal effectively 2 million human lives worth of economic output. You know, with the press of a button. So understanding that's what you're up against. It's the same, you know, whether you're chopping wood in the fucking in Siberia, or you know you're whatever, driving 100 hours for fucking Uber, or flipping burgers at McDonald's, or trying to get a degree to, you know, that's to pay you enough so that you can get the fuck out of the rat race or whatever you think. It's never going to happen. Like, everyone in the gulag had a hierarchy system. Everyone in the gulag had their scheme. You know, I'll be nice to this guard. I'll do this. I'll do that. I'll get an extra crust of bread. I'll fucking get, you know, an extra cup of soup or something like that, and I'll live longer. But it didn't really work out for any of them. And so the only way to win is to not play. The only way to win is don't play. Because you know, there's no way to fucking win. There's just no way to win. You know what I mean? I think of all the people like, oh, you know, think of all the stuff that people thought civilization was based on. Oh, you got to read Shakespeare. Yeah, I read Shakespeare when I was a kid in high school. But what could the reading Shakespeare? Did reading Shakespeare stop, you know, American school teachers from having sex with their kids? Did reading Shakespeare, you know, fucking increase the IQ level? Do Americans make smarter fucking decisions? Like, what did it do? All of these books, all of these fucking academic requirements. What did it do to make it? It didn't save civilization in America, right? You believe, oh, you've got to do this and you got to do that. Listen, you're as fake as the fucking Republicans or the conservatives, right? Oh, we're conservatives. Yeah, you couldn't even conserve the definition of marriage. You couldn't even keep the definition of marriage, one man, one woman, right? You can't keep someone my age in a fucking wig and a dress out of the little girl's fucking bathroom. You didn't conserve shit, right? It's a con. And saying, well, you have to read this and you have to read this book, read that book. It doesn't stop civilization from being destroyed, and it doesn't support civilization. Okay, it does neither one of those two functions. And civilization is necessary for those fucking things to exist in the first place. And if you don't understand that, then you will be forever spinning your wheels. You'll be doing, you know, I don't know what you're going to be doing. You're going to be really, really wasting your time, and you don't get a second. You're not getting two bites at this apple. You know what I mean? You get one shot, and you should make it count. You know, worrying about what Luke Ford thinks or says or does. You know, so what? You know, and if your friends are scared, listen. You can be scared and still do the right thing. You can do people just because you're scared doesn't mean you don't do anything. You can be scared and still make the choices you need to make. You know, where's the dude talking about that? I got a dude talking about that. Here, check this guy out.
Staring us in the face is the fact that we're ending the era that I grew up in, which is the era of globalization. We saw an increase of activity in economic sanctions and trade wars and currency wars, proliferation of hot wars that I don't believe are going to slow down. Every year this decade has hit us with a haymaker, and it's not done with us. That's my thoughts. It's not a pleasant thought, but the majority of history is peacetime. But in between periods of peacetime, there's periods of terrifying volatility, war, disasters, all of this. We might be in one of those periods right now. In combination with the insolvency of the state, you see the civil unrest just blossom into bordering on a civil war. And having said all of that, I think the future is very hard to predict, and I don't know what happens next. If this is the end of one era, whatever happens next, it's not going to be simple, quick, or predictable. That's what I think. How do I deal with that? I just try to build as much optionality into my life as possible. And when you don't know what's around the corner, you want to be ready for anything.
When you don't know what's around the corner, you want to be ready for anything. It's a good way to think. This kid, part of the problem always being online and having internet and video constantly available to you and constantly bombarding you is you think stuff's happening that isn't really happening. You think things are worse than they are because that's all you see and hear. We're not anywhere near as bad as things can be. When really there's no food in the supermarkets, when the military has to be called in to quell riots that have been going on and on for days or weeks, then things will be bad. But we're not there yet. We're not even close to that. And that's not going to happen until the money really breaks. When the money absolutely breaks and you, no matter how hard you work, you can't keep a roof over your head, clothes on your back, and food in your kid's fucking belly, that's when shit's going to fucking break. We're not there yet. We will head there inevitably, but we aren't there yet. And while you still can, be smart and build optionality or whatever the guy said. I don't know if that language works for you or doesn't work for you, but on the other side of this thing is going to be a very, very, very different future, and it's going to be one based on Bitcoin. Here's a guy, he says the same stuff I say. Well, similar. He says it's smarter than me. This guy's a professor. This is and it's the one and only Andreas Antonopoulos. But his thinking, which has been sketchy in the past, is pretty good here. And why don't you listen to what he has to say about what the future is going to look like for 13-year-olds.
A decade from now, a 10-year-old will be able to run the SWIFT network on their smartphone. They'll be able to be a bank and a brokerage house on their smartphone. By the time they're allowed at 16 to open a bank account, they've probably spent 5 or 6 years using Bitcoin on a day-to-day basis as their currency. Because in a global connected world, credit cards don't work for minors, and they're going to end up using Bitcoin. In fact, we're already seeing this. So by the time they get to banking, they've got 6 years of experience with Bitcoin. Try explaining to them what 3 to 5 business days for clearing a check means. Try explaining what a check is. Try explaining why they have to pay you £5 to keep their account with you. Try to explain them what an overdraft fee is. While you're at it, you might as well sell them a landline and a fax machine, because they're just as likely to get one of those as they are to open a bank account.
Man's got a point. You know, kids in the future, what do you think they're going to trade back? They can't keep cell phones out of schools, right? The school systems in America are trying to figure out how do we stop kids from being on their phones all day, every day, right? Well, you know, they're using their phones to do stupid shit, but sooner or later, they're going to want to buy stuff, you know? All kids crave sugar. They're going to, you know, some kid's going to come in with candy bars and sell them for Bitcoin, and he's going to be like the genius entrepreneur of the fucking 4th grade. And Antonopoulos looking forward with kids growing up like this, that something is done when it's settled, it's done. Not 3 to 5 business days, not, you know, not asking for permission. I have it. You want it. Let's make a fucking trade and be done with this. That's what the future is going to look like. But you know, we're going to have to go through some ugly fucking times to get there. But we're not there yet, and you can protect yourself. There's no way that tying your fortune to global homos is going to be good for you. You know what I mean? You're going to end up like, what's his name? You're going to end up like fucking like Elon. You know what I mean? You may prosper materially. You may have a great deal of material prosperity, but you're going to have to be filling your brain with a lot of fucking chemicals to cope with the internal effects of what that's going to do. Don't go down with the ship. Be like Napoleon. I got a Napoleon quote. Everybody on this channel, they don't like democracy. They like monarchy. And what did Napoleon do after he took over France? He declared himself the emperor. But before he did that, he came up with this quote, which is a pretty good quote. War is when your government tells you who the enemy is. Revolution is when you figure it out yourself. And, you know, if you want to do red team, blue team, if you want to do where you have to read, you know, whatever, fucking Shakespeare or Aristotle in order to save civilization, that's not what saves civilization. You get to read that after you've done the work of saving civilization, of keeping the fucking lights on, keeping the water flowing, keeping, you know, food in the supermarkets or whatever. That has to happen first. Then you can take your time and whatever, read your book and do whatever you want to do. You know, contemplate fucking butterflies. But there's an aggressive, we're not asking permission fucking drive, right? It's not thoughtful and contemplative. It's, you know what, fuck it, we're doing it anyway. This is in my interest, I'm going to do it anyway, and it's always easier to ask forgiveness than permission. Cuchalongo, welcome to the show, Cuchalongo. I haven't seen you in a while. We've got, Mr. Luciano Villas-Boas also in the chat, who I'm guessing, I don't know, maybe he is European. Yeah, of course I'm still going strong. How could I not be going strong? I consider myself a soldier in the war against global homo, right? And you may think, well, James, you're like ranting like a fucking loon. And you're really over-dramatizing what it is you do. Well, you know, I don't think I'm over-dramatizing because my best understanding from all the stuff, from everything I heard, and I listened to everybody, right? You know, I don't care. Listen, nationalism versus this one, that one. It's red team, blue team. You know what I mean? It's a dorky version of red team, blue team, but it's still red team, blue team. It's still Democrats, demon rats, Republicans. That's the same fucking shit. You know what I mean? Just you're using less popular, more obscure fucking teams, and it's equally as fucking pointless. What drives human behavior is incentives. And how does global homo win? It incentivizes you cooperating with it, okay? Sell out your family, sell out your nation, sell out this, sell out that, sell out your church, sell out, right? Gain a reward for doing no work or very little work, and a reward big enough that, you know, it's going to change your life. Well, most people don't really get that opportunity. You know, obviously the elites do get that opportunity. Okay. Now Cuchalongo in the chat. Cuchalongo knows Luciano as an alias for someone else. Man, there's levels to this, but there's levels to beating global homo, you know, and what level are you going to be? You know, I mean, are you going to sit there and wait, see who wins? Okay, maybe that's your strategy. Maybe you think I'll sit on the fence until the very last minute. But I'm not the sort of person that can do that. I feel like I have to do something. And, you know, people don't get out of bed in the morning because it's a really good idea. You know what I mean? That's not why people, like, this is really, you know, I got a really good idea what I'm going to do today. That's not why people get out of bed. You know what I mean? They get out of bed because they have to get out of bed because they need to go do stuff. You know, they need to go live their lives. And so, you know, if your belief that, you know, again, red team philosophy, blue team philosophy is going to change anything, it's not going to change anything. Real human incentive is what changes history and behavior. And our team Bitcoin, we don't ask permission. We just get it fucking done. You know, we just get it done. We got Argentina. There's, you know, a little piece of Honduras. God knows what we're going to get next. Lucky Luciano is okay. Yeah, Lucky Luciano. I remember talking about him years ago. But you know, I sit here thinking, how do I convince people to accelerate towards a brighter future? And you know, this is what I come up with, because you don't want the world's richest junkie telling you should buy fucking Harriet Tubman coins, you know, and enjoy eating whatever the fucking whatever, eating the bugs. Cuchilongo. We need a report from Portugal interview with James. Report from Portugal. I don't. All right, Cuchilongo, you're losing me. That is a reference I do not get right now, sir. I am unaware of what you are referring to. Report from Portugal? Just keep banging. I will. What else? The only thing I know about Portugal is in Elizabeth, New Jersey, there's Portuguese barbecue joints. That's the limit of my Portuguese knowledge. That and that they sold cannons to Ieyasu Tokugawa, and that's how he became shogun. Virgil Doc, Purple Heart, welcome to the show, sir. You must have been busy earlier. Lisbon is turning black fast. Yeah, I don't know how bad is that? The thing with all of this, you know, that it's the migrations. What are they migrating for? A better quality of life. And look at what they're willing to do. Are they being helped by one side or another? Yeah, they are. Well, you could migrate your wealth and the value of your life from global homo bucks to Bitcoin, right? You don't need permission. You could just cross that fucking line. Right, and the more people that do that, the better off they'll be. You know what I mean? And whatever the dark-skinned hordes choose to do or choose not to do, you know, when the streets are filled with worthless paper like they are in Venezuela and fucking Argentina, you know, you will be, I don't know, behind the walls of the Citadel, and you won't have to worry about that. That's what you need to do. That's what you need to prep for that now, because they're not going to stop printing. They're not going to stop importing tens of thousands of, you know, minimum wage workers, sub-minimum wage workers, sex trafficking people, whatever the fuck they want. They aren't going to stop. And they're really, at the end of the day, they're going to feed us. It's their, I was thinking about the fall of empires and the rise of new empires. How does that work, right? My show is international. Yes, I used to be quite the international dude, Cuchilongo. I used to do streams with what was that guy? The Jewish dude, Babylonian Hebrew, and there were people in the chat from they were like mathematicians from Finland or something like that, or Copenhagen, Denmark. You know, they would be in the chat. They'd be like, cheer me on because of some whack job would start talking about subatomic particle physics, and they think, well, there's no fucking way this retard knows anything about subatomic particle physics. And I actually do. I read a couple of books about that when I was younger, and I'd go in there and I'd just smash the crap out, you know. And I noticed a pattern that all of these particle physicists, they always imagine a new particle. Well, we think there's a particle called quarks. We think there's a particle called tachyons. We think there's a particle, and you know, oh, give us some money, we'll see if we can find it. And sure enough, right about when the grant money runs out, they find a particle, and we need more money. Once you notice the scam, you notice the scam. And yeah, there was some dude, like I said, he was like a physics professor in Copenhagen, who used to cheer me on when I'd go off like a fucking I'd go off like the devil in church on whatever, one of these fucking mentally ill tribe members that were that thought they could make something of themselves in the Indian, you know. So yes, I did have international reach, you know, at one point. Am I still flipping houses? I never flipped houses. I don't know what you're talking about. I never, ever, ever flipped houses. If I was going to do anything with houses, I would just do the Section 8 slumlord thing. You know what I mean? The Section 8 slumlord thing would be the best move, because I got some real estate. You want some real estate? I got real estate. Hold on. Stand by, Cuchilongo. I've got some real estate investor news just for you.
Are Wall Street landlords manipulating the rents in your neighborhood? Well, take a look at this listing here. It's owned by Progress Residential, one of the largest Wall Street landlords in America that owns over 85,000 homes. Initially, they had this house listed at $2,000 a month for rent. Then they increased it by 40% to $2,800 per month. Then they've since reduced it by 25% back down to $2,000 a month, trying to create the impression that there was a big rent cut on this house when there wasn't actually one. Now, normally I would think this is no big deal. This is just the free market. However, Progress Residential owns a lot of the rental stock in this area of Phoenix. If you actually look on Zillow right now, they have another house a couple blocks up where they're doing the exact same thing. They jacked up the rent and then cut it by $500 to create the impression of a big rent cut. I personally think it's kind of crazy that one of America's largest landlords is resorting to tactics like this to try to lure in renters. And I'm wondering, is this even legal for a company to own so many homes and to engage in these type of rental rate setting practices? I don't know. You can let me know in the comment section below.
So that's what America's largest landlord, right? Playing games, creating, manipulating the market, right? I don't know who's supposed to come in and fix that, but whatever federal agency is supposed to fix that is not going to be fixing anything at all. What do I eat when I'm on the road? Cuchilongo, I eat a lot of garbage, to be perfectly honest. I eat stuff at a Sunoco gas station because I go to the same places over and over. So like truck stop food and whatever, crap pizza in Boston, fried chicken places in like Virginia and Maryland. It's all garbage. I just try to keep the calories about right. And and whenever possible, I just choose the turkey sandwich. I just because you sort of can't go wrong with that. You're not going to get yourself in trouble. Like turkey sandwich, bag of chips, a can of fucking. I used to drink Monster. Now I drink that Rain energy drink. And that's that. Luciano Villas Boas, chips are the worst for you. Now, are you talking about European chips or what we call chips in America, sir, what we call chips in America, you might call crisps. Oh yes, the seed oils. Luckily, I work at night, so I don't have to worry about getting sunburned. Yeah, avoid seed oils. Of all the problems that I have in my life, I'm thinking seed oils fairly low down on that list. What I really need to do, it's tough to see, I need to avoid going to Jamaican barbers. I decided to get my haircut the other day, yesterday, and I was like, place was just about to close. I ran in, I thought the pretty young Spanish girl was going to cut my hair. She had her kids with her. She ran off in the back room, did whatever. And I had this large, overweight Jamaican female cut my hair, and she did such a terrible job. I actually had to fix it myself in the mirror not that long. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck. Like, I will never do that again. And I paid like 50% more than I normally would pay. But I didn't want to drive 20 miles up to this old guy near, what's his name, Julian over there by Teterboro Airport. And I was like, I don't want to drive 20 miles for a fucking haircut. That's stupid. Like, let me just go to this place right here. You know what? I should have made the effort and drove the 20 miles, and I would have been richer for it. I would have paid less and been happier with the result. But worrying about seed oils and listen, everyone's obsessed with food. Human beings are obsessed with food. And you eat too much and you think, you don't think, oh, I ate too much, I got a bellyache. All of a sudden you start thinking, oh my God, the seed oils are giving me stomach cancer. It's not that the seed oils are giving you stomach cancer, okay? You just ate too much. That's all you did. You just didn't control how many calories you took in. That's it. You know what I mean? Or you ate something that you're not supposed to eat. Oh, I had cheesecake on a Wednesday. I'm only supposed to have that on, my cheat day or whatever. So, Luciano Villas Boas, I learned that from Roosh V. Roosh V is also anti-seed oils. Like what? Like who? I don't understand these trends. Like all of these food trends, it's ridiculous. I eat a ton of garbage. This is still my fucking hair. There's great, but You know what? I look the way I look because of DNA and the fact that I exercise every single Roosh V. Yeah, Roosh V is like blast of the past. He's not. Roosh V has to be funded properly. Roosh V, if he wants to be big, he has to get to work for a 3-letter agency like this guy. Here's one of our favorite guys, and I literally cannot avoid this motherfucker no matter what I do, no matter where I go. This shit pops up in my feed all the time. Everyone knows who this is.
I personally believe that 2024 is I think it's going to be even bigger than culture. I think it could be the end of Western civilization if it doesn't go the way it's supposed to go. I really think it's the final chance. And I don't want to be assassinated, and I certainly would never kill myself. But I think it would be an interesting conversation for us to talk about whether they are going to be able to do again what they did before. Because if they don't, they're going to lose. And I think that caged, desperate tigers, cornered tigers are sometimes the most dangerous. If we lose in 2024, it's over for the whole idea of democracy. It's over for the whole idea of belief in the system. It's over for the whole Western world. It's over for the dollar. It's over for everything, isn't it?
Oh, thank God. Andrew Tate is apocalyptic. He's talking fast. It's all over. If we don't win, what does winning look like? What does winning look like, Andrew? What do you like? This guy, by the way, Andrew Tate, I read somewhere on the internet, his father was a translator for CIA. So Andrew Tate is a creation of spooks. That's why he's everywhere. That's why you can't escape him. Cucamongo, I am a specimen. Yes, I am an exempt human specimen. As a matter of fact, sir, I am exempt from the brainwashing of the elites. I am exempt from Andrew Tate filling my mind with dread, like, oh no, 2024, if the dollar goes down, we'll lose democracy, whatever the fucking dumb shit he's saying. Like, literally, I don't know. They must prep him before they put him in front of the mic. And I think what comes out is almost like a fucking random. It's almost like a stream of consciousness. Fucking thing. It doesn't even make sense. James, do I miss my bike? I do. I'm going to buy another motorcycle in spring. Although I'm going to buy like a gay ass cruiser bike. I'm not going to buy a sport bike. Mostly because there are very few 58-year-old dudes on sport bikes. And to be honest, the last couple of years I owned motorcycles. I was only riding like 4 or 5 times a year, like nowhere near the mileage I used to do. So I'd rather have something that is safe and boring, super low maintenance, that I could just run for years and years and not have to worry about. But I still really want a bike, definitely 100%. Going to get a motorcycle this spring, no doubt. Cucamongo, Jesus, or Jesus. I don't know. Cucamongo, did you suddenly get religion? What is going on? Are the seed oil? Are the seed oils attacking you? And are you calling out in desperation for heavenly help? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with you, Cucamongo. You may live in somewhere on this map. This is a map of places where marijuana is legal in the United States, which is basically every fucking where. It makes me wish that I drove in the middle of the country, like right in the actual middle of the country. I would be much happier. But a lot of that green stuff on the right-hand side of on the right-hand side of the screen is where I spend many hours on the road watching people smash into each other. And I'm sure that THC has quite a bit to do with that. Luciano Villas-Boas, Cucamongo is reading too much Roosh B. Yeah, it's, like Jesus Christ and seed oils. I don't know how the two go together. I'm sure it makes sense if you just spark up a bowl of some really high quality THC or do an edible, which I think a lot of people do. That's the gummy bears, the THC laced gummy bears. Roosh only talks about God nowadays. Yeah, I vaguely. He was a guy who he went to Romania. It was like, you know, he was like some brown skinned dude who figured out how to screw white girls, and this was like literally the goal of his fucking life. You know, um, that he would have sex with some fucking white girl was like gonna make up for the fact that he was born brown. And where the fuck is he from? India? Where's that dude from? Rushby? I don't remember. But your perception that something you can't change, how you were born and what you look like, well, we could change it a little bit, but certain things you can't change. That like I stole something, right? Because I was born white. You know what I mean? I was born white in the United States of America. That's not fair, and I'm happy because of that. And you're unhappy because you were not born white and you were not born in America, and you're going to punish white people by doing X. This is like, think of how fucking twisted that is. Think of how insanely twisted it is. Luciano Villas-Boas, Armenian and Persian. Really? So what? That's like that's like Turkish. Almost, yeah, kind of probably like something like Turkish. I didn't know that. I knew he was whatever. You know, I guess he's a real Orion, right? He's a Persian, a real Orion. But he didn't go in for the white power stuff. So, but are Armenians white or are they not white? I'm not sure if they are or they aren't. I don't think they are. The most famous Armenian I know is Kim Kardashian. And I don't think, even if she is white, we don't want her. So, Kuchalango, I don't smoke dope. Good for you, sir. I understand it's a choice people make, but it's not a wise one. It is not at all wise. Although, Judas Lightshine, one of the most loyal contributors, subscribers to the show, very big fan of that stuff. Though I would urge him to reduce his use of that in his life, because it is not long term. It does not have good effects in any way, shape, or form. It's bad for your lungs. It's bad for a lot of things. But yeah, these mini celebs. The reason why Andrew Tate is as big as he is because his dad worked for CIA and now he works for CIA. That's why you see it. Like, I literally cannot escape Andrew Tate on fucking social media. Like, no matter what I do, I block the fucking account. The more accounts that post Andrew Tate videos that I block, the more I see Andrew Tate videos. So I said, well, like, okay, that's not working. You know what? Let me write some really provocative shit in the comments, right? Because it looks like underneath every video there's 600 comments. But there's probably, my comment is probably the only comment written by a human being. Everything else, I'm sure, is fucking bots. Because you know, I can be a bomb thrower. I am sitting around, I'm waiting for something to do. I'm fucking bored. Andrew Tate starts telling me the world's going to end unless some mysterious we wins some contest that he doesn't define, and he doesn't define what winning is. But it's all on the line. We're all going to die in 2024 unless things go perfectly well. Which, you know, okay, yeah, sure. So you're going to sell me doom and gloom. You're going to sell me fucking doomsday. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck this shit. So I start fucking typing all kinds of outrageous shit into the fucking messages underneath the video, and I never get any response. Like, never get any response. And that's how I know that that Andrew Tate and the chat section or the message section underneath the video is entirely artificial. It's entirely federal. There's no human beings responding to this. Because I go on Instagram, I say a bunch of shit. There was a dude I showed a while back, a guy named Craig Wright. He's a former narcotics cop from the southern part of America, and he's very realistic on the world of violence in the streets and blah blah blah. And I showed a video of him, and he was talking about an informant he used to have in the drug world, who he had for years and years. And early on when he first met him, they had a physical altercation, and he broke the guy's arm. Which oddly, he didn't see the guy for so many years, and when the guy comes back to be a drug informant, wants to work with this guy Craig Wright, and he said the reason why is because he respected me, because I was willing to break his arm to win the fight. you know. And so Craig does like pistol training and various different hand-to-hand combat stuff and different ways of dealing with violent people from 0 to 5 feet away. Okay, so what? So he's on Instagram. I subscribe to him on Instagram, watch the videos, blah, 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 blah. And somebody put up why don't you use jujitsu in a street fight? And you see these two dudes, I don't know where it was. One was black, one was white. They start to clash. The white dude does a jujitsu throw, throws a black dude down, and he thinks he's going to start winning. And then out of nowhere, like off camera, you see like 6 other fucking black guys come in and start beating the fuck out of this fight. There's just fucking, this guy gets destroyed and then the video ends. I don't know ultimately what happens, but the point is stay on your feet. Don't roll around on the fucking sidewalk, in any sort of physical fight. But in the comment section, some people started writing 13% activities. You know what I mean? They started writing a couple of different things that referred to the reality of street violence in America and the racial differences. So I replied, pattern recognition has entered the chat, just being like a little cheeky thing. And when I open Instagram, I see how many people like that comment. I got 15 likes on it. But no matter what I write in response to an Andrew Tate video, no one ever responds. So that's how I know Andrew Tate is entirely a creation of one of the alphabet agencies, and you're going to see this depending on sort of what you search for. The algorithm will keep putting this in your face and putting this in your face and putting this in your face until you believe it's happening everywhere. Like those dopey guys, like the ones that were showing the talking to Breedlove. Oh, the elites are scared. Oh, they're running scared. That's why they're doubling down on the child molestation and the legalized marijuana. No, they're not running scared. They run the fucking world. This is a flex to them. This is a dominance display. I can do whatever the fuck I want to you whenever I want to you. They're not frightened of anything. They are not frightened at all. Cuchilongo. Well, and now the chats really go between Cuchilongo and Luciano Villas-Boas. We got quite the activity in the chat. All right. A Dead Bat in Paraguay by Rush V was a fun read. A Dead Bat in Paraguay. Romanian is mostly Latin. Romanian is one of the Romance languages. Maybe lots of words are the same. Yeah, but they have. I saw a thing like I watch Romanian videos. They have a word for butter that's unlike any other. Not like the French one or the Italian one or any other. But there's some stuff. Luciano, have you been to America, North, Central, or South? Only England, Spain, and France. I've not been to Spain or France, but I think I might go to England and France. What is the best place in these countries? The white part of the country. The white part of the country is the best place anywhere. France and England was shocking back in the day. Yeah, when I was a kid, I'll tell you a story. When my first impression of England, when I was a little kid, I'm talking about like 4 years old. At the end of the street where I lived on 34th Street in Brooklyn, between 3rd and 4th Avenue, right by the Gowanus Expressway. There was somebody who may or may not have been on LSD, who was supposedly from Vietnam, who took his own mother hostage with a gun, and the police responded. And back then, the police, this was like the early, late 60s, 1970 maybe. The NYPD had these big, gigantic green and white fucking Chrysler vehicles, and everybody went on one into the street, and oh my God, the cops are down there, and there's a shootout. I was a little kid. I thought shootout. I didn't know. Everything I knew from shootouts was watching TV. I was like, oh, I want to go see that. So I snuck. I can't remember how I snuck out of that. Snuck around. So I went down to where the end of the street, to where the police were trying to get into this guy's apartment. And the first time I had seen a windshield of a car that was been struck with a bullet and it was starred was all spider webby. And I was like, I thought that was the coolest fucking thing. And there's some fucking cop with a fucking Smith & Wesson Model 19 revolver, and he's hiding behind his fucking car. And he sees me and he goes, "Hey, kid, get the fuck out of here. Go back, go home." And I was like, holy shit. I was like a little kid. No cop had ever yelled at me. Nobody ever talked to me that way. So I got scared and I ran back up the end of the street. Long story short, supposedly, I don't know, they got in there, they gained access to the apartment and killed the guy. I don't know if they killed the father. But I was like, that was crazy to me, but that was when I was a little kid in Brooklyn. And then years later, I found out there was a country called England where the police didn't have guns and they had these big funny hats and they rode around on bicycles. And I always thought to myself, oh man, I want to go there. I want to see a place where the police don't curse at you and don't hide behind their cars and kill the people at the end of your street. Although England today, I think, is more like America, probably, or at least London is, than you would guess. What is the whitest part of Spain? Anything Castilian, right? Aren't the Castilians the whitest of the white people? Because yeah, Castilian. That's gotta be where it is. Cucamonga wants to know, did you do 23andMe? Cucamonga, did you not go through, were you not here for my entire DNA test, my sister thing with the fucking Fed cop as supposedly a long lost half brother and all sorts of whacked out shit? Did you not, were you not here for that bit of drama? And have you not noticed, and you can YouTube this, you can YouTube, like, you just, in the YouTube search box, type identical twins, unusual DNA test. There's these two girls, Cucamonga, I want to visit Luciano and Luciano to visit James. Well, there's not much to see in Jersey, but I would go back to Europe. I've been to Greece, so what the fuck? I can go to Spain, I can go to France. I just gotta come up with the cash, which should be relatively easy in the next couple of weeks. I might actually go on a trip because one, I fucked up last year with buying that cargo van, and that cost me a lot of money and time. And then but I really am excited by the idea of jumping on an airplane and landing in a different country. That's like, that to me is still a pretty exciting fucking concept. And so, yeah, I got to drive 65 hours a week and fucking eat crap food out of a Sunoco gas station. But I dream about, hey, you know what? There's nothing stopping me from just fucking taking my passport, my smartphone, and going and flying off to another part of the fucking planet. There's nothing stopping me other than I don't have the money at the time, although I'm putting those two things together. That having been said, the world when you get there is different than you think it's going to be. Europe is really different than America. Having grown up in New York City, I met a fair number of Europeans, a larger number of Europeans than most people would, because a lot of Europeans come to New York for various different reasons. But it's different. Like when you meet one of them in your culture, it's very, very different from when you are the foreigner in their culture. Cucamonga, I was asking Luciano, Cucamonga, you're losing. I was excellent, but I was not there. You were not where? Have you been, Cucamonga? Have you been to Europe or have you not been? Have you been to the continent, sir? Have you experienced continental elegance? Or are you simply a crude American sitting here thumping on your, I'm as white as James. I'm pretty white. I'm actually very white. I'm like super white. But I don't let that stop me. You know what I mean? I don't let that hold me back in life. I don't, yeah, of course, the chances that, Cucamonga, are you thinking that, wait, hold on, Cucamonga, are you sure you're not using marijuana? Why would you assume that Luciano is a non-white individual? I don't, I would not assume that. You have to look at how he posts messages and what's going on. Like, you have to read the room. You have to look at the clues. You can't just, if you're going to take the time, Kuchalan, to flip over the pack of Doritos and realize that, oh my God, you just eaten seed oils and now you're going to get skin cancer tomorrow morning because you have to walk across the street in Queens, New York to fucking get to the subway, and it's all over for you. If that's where you are mentally, before you give up entirely on your life, unravel that last mystery of Luciano Villas-Boas. Read his final messages, right? And determine, to try to intuit, try to allow your inner sense, your spidey sense, to determine what kind of man would type that message on a bizarre Bitcoin-based anti-Semitic podcast. Like, who would do this? Kuchalango, you have not been to Europe. You live right near the fucking LaGuardia Airport. I thought you were from Queens. If I remember correctly, you either live in Queens or you've been to Queens. You could get on a plane at LaGuardia tomorrow, assuming, of course, you had a passport. You got to have a passport. They're fucking expensive. They're like, when I got mine, it was like almost $300, which I think that's a lot. I think that's rather high. I was always American first. Yeah, listen, I'm probably the most American New Yorker there is, but when you, like, for me personally, when I think of, okay, so let's kind of try to bring this back to the original line of thinking of this stream. My grandfather came here in 1905, and then won his citizenship by fighting World War I. And my father fought in World War II. He was in the Third Army and Patton's Army. And he mostly did that, I don't know if mostly out of patriotism, but it was mostly to impress his father. Not that he got to pick being in Patton's Army, but he volunteered rather than be drafted. And the idea of America, this big free democracy that we're, going to fight for, and is worth living in. Well, both, at least the two of them, believed in that, and I believed in that for most of my life, until I started looking at nation states as plantations for tax slaves. You know what I mean? And when you understand that America's greatest enemy, communism, right? That the fifth plank of the Communist Manifesto is there must be a central bank and fiat currency. And when you look around the world and think, well, what country does not have a central bank? And what country does not have fiat currency? And the answer is none. And that's why the commies, Team Red or Team Blue, whatever you want to think of them, are always winning. They can never seem to be beat. No matter how much you can shoot them, you can fucking do whatever, you can vote them out of power, but they always seem to come back. Why is that? Because they are the puppets of the central bankers, the favorites of the central bankers. And if you kind of think things through, you realize that the problem is central banking. The problem is an elite group. You consider them people who wear small hats and don't eat bacon, or you consider them something else. I don't even fucking care. It doesn't even matter what ethnicity they are at this point. That a small group can create value out of thin air that you have to work your entire life for, creates an inherently bad system, and it leads us to where we are, to where everything is being brought down. What is it? Why did it? Kuchalango, Luciano was. You are he who cannot read the ring. Whitish for Nordicists. I live out there with the weirdos of the West Coast. I've been to the West Coast. They are weird. You think Ellis Islanders polluted the stock? What stock? Do you think that if the American colonists successfully repelled the British twice, you think they couldn't fucking shoot some dumbass fucking Guineas and Irishmen? The fuck? You know, they were invited here. You keep thinking that, you know, that these evil foreigners just crossed the border, you know, unopposed. But trust me, they were encouraged to come here. You know what I mean? They were encouraged to come here because the powers that be needed more tax slaves to fucking build their wealth greater and greater and greater. And if you view history through that lens, through the lens of banking, the world looks very, very different than you think it is. European immigration, good. Largely was good because the people were similar enough to mostly assimilate. But at the end of the day, it's easy assimilation or not so easy assimilation is how much resources are you willing to expend to get group conformity, to get program compliance, right? The people who will not comply with the program, what do you do with them? Can you kick them out? Well, how do you punish them? This and that, and how much resources are you willing to use to make that happen? And where are you getting those resources from? Are you taking them from your pocket, or are you taking them from others? Right? And that is something those questions explain how different civilizations do things. And the reason why Asians don't seem to have certain problems is because they would let literally tens of millions of people starve to death just to get rid of them. They don't want to be bothered, and they're not going to lift a finger or give you one fucking grain of rice to fucking live if they don't like you. Do you know what I mean? So where do you get the resources to solve what problems, right? And in America, the way we really have it is we have elites at the top, like my buddy Elon. Where's he? Let's put Elon the junkie. Let's put him up again. We have the richest man in the world who's fucking high as a kite on the fucking daily, right? Because being the richest man in the world, I don't know, is just somehow not satisfying enough, right? Like his life is empty. You know what I mean? It's like, I just feel like I'm underachieving. That could be one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is he's a fucking puppet of the fucking Rothschilds who, as long as he probably doesn't murder anyone on TV, can fucking stay, and as long as he carries out their little fucking script, you know what? He can stay richest man in the world forever, right? As long as he follows the fucking script. And anyone who says anything bad behind his back, well, we'll deal with them. But in America, you have an elite parasite class at the top, and then you have a much larger parasite class at the bottom. The dark-skinned people that we're talking about. And both of them are designed to, the ones at the bottom, the parasites at the bottom, the welfare addicts, the EBT, Section 8, et cetera, all of those people, the resources to give them Section 8 and food stamps and SNAP come from the middle class, right? Come from the working class, middle class. So their resources are drained from them so that they never go above middle class to upper class, right? And that protects the parasites at the top, right? Who get federal contracts and fucking Pentagon money and whatever. You know what I mean? That are closest to the money printer. They get all the benefits of the money printer and the ability to take this counterfeit, to take these Federal Reserve notes and buy things of value that create yield, and then and not pay any fucking tax on it, right? While you, who were desperately trying to fucking pay for your mortgage, put your kids through fucking college, et cetera, get ahead in life, right? Become a success, be an alpha, and get that fucking whatever hottie that down at your gym crush, whatever the fuck it is. You will never get what you want because you get taxed heavier. And maybe if I move to this part of the country, maybe if I move to that part of the country, or what if I go into this industry, or what if I go into that industry? And you're constantly trying to just stay in place while the elites go higher and higher. And at the bottom, the parasite class gets bigger and bigger. Blacks, Mexicans, Hondurans, whatever, Chinese can cross the border, Middle Easterners, whatever, right? You want an education? When you go to the supermarket, and look at the people in front of you and how they pay, because on the screen that the clerk as the clerk is adding up the fucking total, it'll say how they pay, cash, credit, or EBT. And you will be stunned at how many people are buying the dollar amount of electronic benefits transfer or food stamps. You will be fucking stunned at how much that is. That's probably a third of what of what's, at least a third of what's being spent in the supermarket. Man, look, these two in the chat. Madison, European immigration good. Who is Madison Grant? The passing of the great race, Madison. Are you talking about James Madison and Ulysses S. Grant? Luciano Villas-Boas, or is there somebody named Madison Grant that I don't know? Grant was harsh on Southern Europeans, but I forgave him. What is the median IQ of Portugal? I don't know. They have pretty good octopus. They have like octopus stew, which I definitely would eat. Southwest Europeans. That's just you guys and Spain. Portugal, Spain, and Italy were part of the Big Five. 3 places I would eat. You know what I mean? Let's be honest. 3 places that everyone would eat. Anyway, where am I? I'm fucking looking an hour and a half doing this. I'm still going. I'm trying to limit these things to an hour and a half. Okay. Cuchilongo, let me explain to you that IQ doesn't mean shit. IQ is the most worthless measure. Why don't you measure the percentage of people in a country that are left-handed? Why don't you do that? Because that's equally as useful metric. IQ points just means how fast you can understand complex bullshit. It doesn't mean you can tell the difference between complex bullshit and useful information. It's just how fast and how deeply can you absorb complex bullshit. Shakespeare didn't save civilization. Neither did fucking, Renoir or any of that fucking shit, right? All of the stuff that is produced because there's a civilization does not protect civilization. Civilization must be protected, which means the parasites have to be put down forever. And that is what we are here to do with the Bitcoins. Portuguese 97 IQ. Like, you just spinning your wheels, Can you imagine, try to imagine, Cuchilongo, try to imagine you're in Lisbon, right? You're in Lisbon, Portugal. I don't know how you got there. You stowed away on a plane from LaGuardia on TAP, Air Portugal, and you landed in Lisbon. And then you meet this girl. She's a Portuguese girl, and she's got a sign on her tit that says, "My IQ is 104." But she's a miserable fucking bitch who can't cook. Will you marry her? No, you won't. She's a miserable bitch who can't fucking cook. You're not going to marry her no matter. She has this one genetic characteristic. So what? IQ is a genetic characteristic of your brain. You know what I mean? There's the bone hardness. There's all sorts of other genetic characteristics that have no direct impact on the quality of your life. And you wouldn't marry someone just because they're left-handed, right? You simply would not marry someone just because they were left. All right. At this point, the chat has gone. Yes, of course you agree, because no one wants to be around the fucking unpleasant bitch who can't fucking cook. You would take a ditz who's fucking happy, right, with whatever you provide her and could fucking cook for you and your children every fucking night, and you know what I mean? And you'd be fucking thrilled. You would take her even though her IQ is only 86.25 or whatever the fuck, because you could live with her, right? That's what you will find out as you get older. If you actually get married or even leave Queens and get to fucking Portugal. With that, I am at 90 minutes at this point. 1 hour, 30 minutes, 28 seconds. Good Lord, I've gone way over time, way over long. Cuchilongo. And Mr. Luciano Villas-Boas. I want to thank you both for showing up. I want to thank whatever other lurkers there are, because up here, I can see there's some other lurkers. Virgil Doc, Purple Heart. Everybody that's going to watch in the coming week, make sure to smash up the like button, because if you don't smash up the like button, how will I even know that what I'm doing, screaming into the void as I do, is a worthwhile activity? Anyway, with that, ladies and gents, thank you for stopping by, and I will talk to you again next week.